Dwight Hammond Jr. is now 76. His son Stephen is 49. This is video of them when they reported to prison a while ago. They turned themselves into a federal prison in Northern California back in 2016. They had been convicted of arsons on their ranch outside of Burns, and the federal minimum sentence was 5 years. But the judge gave them lighter sentences, which they served and then went home. The prosecutor appealed, and a higher court agreed and ordered the men back to prison to finish those 5-year terms. That's what sparked the takeover of the Malheur Wildlife Refuge near Burns. The president's pardon ends those prison sentences now. The head of Oregon's Farm Bureau says it's the right thing.
We are absolutely thrilled, long overdue, and we express our gratitude to the president and to Congressman Greg Walden for the work that he's done and his persistence in making this happen.
But not everyone is thrilled. The federal prosecutor who went after the Hammonds is Dwight Holton. He's retired now, but he issued this statement today. It says, quote, "The Hammonds were serial arsonists who stole from U.S. taxpayers for years. They resisted all efforts to get them to knock off their pillaging of public lands and were ultimately found guilty of serious felonies. That and that alone finally put a stop to their crimes." And he went on. "The president's use of the pardon power as a political tool is dangerous," he wrote, "in the extreme. It's the kind of thing tin pot dictators do, not American presidents. It's a bad day for justice." We are checking with the federal prisons now to find out when the Hammonds will be released. We've not heard yet. We also have quite a lively debate underway on my KGW Facebook page. I invite you to join in.